I love that smell. It's like catnip, burning grey dwarf early in the morning. Well, hello again. Long time no see. It's not been long since I originally published a video outlining the creation of a Greydwarf Farm. Today I thought I'd go through a couple of the refinements and things that I've learned over many hours of testing this farm. There'll be a link to the original video in the description, make sure you check that out. Firstly, spawning. There's some criteria in order to make sure Grey Dwarfs actually spawn. And that's basically they have to spawn on actual terrain. They can't spawn on man-made terrain. This man-made terrain must also be close to directly underneath the spawner. It can't be too far to the left or too far to the right. It needs to place itself basically directly below in order for them to actually spawn. You move 3 blocks to the right, 3 blocks to the left, and put down some flat ground, you're going to have very few, if any, Grey Dwarfs spawning. There must be a hole in the ceiling directly above the spawner. If you cover it over with a roof, you will get 0 Grey Dwarf spawns. Spawn rates are highly inconsistent. Sometimes you'll have a period of no Grey Dwarfs spawning at all and you feel like your farm is broken. Sometimes they'll be spawning one after another after another. There's a few different criteria that might lead to this. I'm still trying to figure it out, to be honest, but I have a couple of ideas. Your physical proximity to the spawner seems to increase spawn rates, i.e. if you're closer to the spawner, generally more Grey Dwarfs will spawn more quickly. However, you can see in this example here, I built a ladder to try and place myself vertically closer, but I'm not directly under the spawner. And because I'm not directly under the spawner, this doesn't seem to massively increase rates of spawn. Although it does a little. As you'll see here in a moment, after this Grey Dwarf dies, I walk down, grab some of the loot, walk outside, place myself in a different location, and sit for a little bit. And there seems to be a decrease in spawn rate. Dwarves will still spawn far away, but it's significantly slower. I have tried tens, if not hundreds, of different iterations of terrain underneath the actual spawner. At the end of the day, it seems like the original one that you saw in this video with a single hearth at the bottom works just as effectively as having a multitude of fires over a larger surface area. Oh, did I forget to mention that you can cut the ground away under the spawner and the spawner floats in the sky like some mystical object? I'm not sure if this one's anecdotal or not, but it appears that when you sit directly under the spawner, well, as you can see here, you seem, or at least for the moment I tried doing this, to get faster rates. Now, I don't know if the enemies don't like you resting, or if this is just some kind of strange coincidence, but I am sitting directly below the spawner while this is happening, in the fire, but they seem to be spawning faster than they were before I did this. Standing there instead of sitting seems to have almost the same effect, although you'll find after this one spawns and another one spawns on me in just a moment, I then end up with a period of time with nothing really happening. So it could just be the inconsistency in the farm as well. This is all just speculation. Let's see here as I do my little lap run around, grab a little bit of loot, head back to the center, hit sit again. Another one. Now, I was like, I figured it out. Finally, every time I sit, a new one spawns. But then I sat, and crickets. Just me alone in hell itself, trying to figure this out. So, I don't know. I think just being underneath the spawner is definitely increasing the rate at which the enemies spawn. And you'll see here, as I jump out of the fire, move around to the side a little bit, take a seat over here, and watch back toward the fire, there seems to be a fairly large decrease in the rate at which the Grey Dwarfs are actually spawning. And I believe this is due to the proximity of me and the spawner itself. Brutes will spawn, the fire takes longer to kill them, sometimes they don't like walking into the fire so they take longer to die. They swing their club, they like to break things, they're pretty annoying. If you make stone edges around your hearths, you'll be fine. It takes probably 40 or 50 of them to break one stone block. Eventually the other Grey Dwarfs will spawn, and the other Grey Dwarfs will push them to the side and knock them into the fire, and they'll burn to death. The 2 stars take a pretty long time to die. Alright, and here's a couple of more underappreciated but also quite practically important things that you should do around your spawner. As you can see in this video, I've started building a rock wall and I've roofed. The main reason for this is right here. Now, I don't know about you, but the last time I looked, that roof looked like it was built to me, and it is currently not. So I'm going to have to assume something came through and made a mess of this while I was AFK. I've got a fair idea what that might have been. Did you hear that? I know I did. It's the bane of my existence. Why build a roof, you say? Without a roof, the hearths will go out when it rains, and the dwarfs won't die at all. Now, ordinarily here I'd give you a play-by-play of me killing the troll, and hopefully him and his death, not coming home, feeding his family, letting his family know maybe this is a safe area. They don't seem to get it, they just keep coming, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it's pretty frustrating, honestly. Alright, finally, build a moat around the outside of your enclosure. I haven't finished digging it in this one yet, I'm still working on it, but between where the stone wall reaches the terrain, you see I've got a moat built along this side wall here. This stops the trolls being able to walk up to the edge of your structure, swing their clubs, and actually hit anything in the first place. So, if you don't want your spawner to die by a random event, you really have to do this. In fact, in our first iteration of this, we built it, and one of the brutes spawned on top of this terrain pillar. We'd built up to the height of the spawner, and he got stuck, started swinging his club, and broke his own spawner, and we had to build all the way from the beginning again at a new spawner. So if I could give you one bit of advice, it is don't have a pillar of dirt high enough that a brute can swing a club and hit the spawner once it spawns. Dig away the pillar. Even if the spawn rates are slower, let them spawn down below. You don't want to rebuild. Alright guys, thanks for watching.